Hey everyone, Ryan Henry here with INSPIREsmall.biz, and on today's episode of the Bright Ideas Show, we welcome a local entrepreneur who is serving up handmade Latin flavor here in central Indiana. Don't miss today's episode. Hey everyone, Ryan Henry here with INSPIREsmall.biz, and welcome to another episode of the Bright Ideas Show. We record at Refinery 46 here in the central part of Indianapolis, south of Broad Ripple, at 2201 East 46th Street in Indianapolis. What is Refinery 46? Well, it's a great co-working space where membership starts at just $150 per month for 24-hour access to the facility. We also have some training space and conference rooms on site so you can book your next meeting. And when your business outgrows the co-working space, there's a variety of office suites to help your business keep growing. Learn more about Refinery 46 and the great things they're doing here at www.refinery46.com. On today's episode of the Bright Ideas Show, we're going to interview a local entrepreneur who has put together her own line of spices that bring Latin flavor to central Indiana tables. But before we get to her interview, I want to share with you a mindful moment from Ray Achille, who was recently a speaker at an INSPIREsmall.biz meeting.
We are going to do a mindful moment together. Now, this is something that our organization does with any group or individual that we work with, and it'll just be a brief breathing exercise. It's a way for you to strengthen your mindfulness muscle and reconnect to the present moment. So what I'm gonna have you do is just sit in a comfortable seated position, but I do want you to be mindful of your posture. So act as if you have a string attached to the top of your head that's gently pulling you upward, okay? I'm going to count us through 3 rounds of what we call balanced breathing. Now, balanced breathing is nothing more than an equal amount of time that you inhale and then an equal amount of time that you exhale. So I'll count us through. It's going to be a 6-second inhale, 6-second exhale. And then after we go through these 3 rounds, I'm just going to give you about 30 seconds just to pay attention to what's going on in your mind. Okay. So I'm going to count us down 3, 2, 1, and we're going to get started. 3, 2, 1. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Continue to breathe at your normal breathing pattern and just notice what's happening in your mind right now. All right, if your eyes are closed, gently begin to blink them open, and welcome back. I say welcome back because we get an opportunity to go to our own unique place within ourselves when we close our eyes and tune into our breathing and tap into the present moment. So say welcome back because now we're back in the same space together, okay?
All right, everyone, so it's time to introduce today's guest, who is the owner of Fire Islander, a line of spices that bring Latin flavor to American cuisine, Elizabeth Curet. Elizabeth, how are you doing today?
I'm doing really well. I'm really excited and just about the business and meeting you and you know, getting the voice out there about my business and really the mission and the goals behind the product line. So.
Awesome. Well, Elizabeth, thank you for taking the time to join us today. Let's talk about your professional career before you started your business. What did you do previously?
I am considered a jack of all trades. So, being originally from Puerto Rico, my dad, served the U.S. military army for about 20 years. So I've lived in different countries all around the world. So by the time we moved to Indiana, graduated from North Central High School, Ball State University, I decided 8 months later to go to Bible college in Sydney, Australia. And I was part of a program, artistic creative arts program there for about 3 years, and came back because the whole residency, visa didn't work out, and it was quite limiting for North Americans. And when I came back, I had to kind of start all over again. I had to find my niche. The original career that I had imagined was twofold. I was either going to be a worship creative arts pastor, or I was going to be a foreign language interpreter and live in France. So I had to regroup my dreams, and eventually, had a journey of walking through the medical field to see if that kind of fit, and the legal field, and I finally landed in marketing. And so I had retail marketing and fashion, apparel, accessories for and eyewear most recently, a little bit over 10 years, and I loved it. Fell in love with marketing, fell in love with all aspects of marketing, and I'm still loving it now. So it's really been a great tool to kind of propel my business forward.
Awesome. And so Elizabeth, what was the inspiration that helped you get your business started?
So in 2020, a lot of people were starting their businesses, right? And I didn't have any ideas. And one of the biggest influential aspects of why I wanted to start my business was just to see how people love the trends of foods. They love tacos. They love, right now, we are hearing left and right about birria tacos, and we love chimichurri sauce, and we love different aspects about the Latin American cuisine and different cultural cuisines in general. But I'm starting to see and notice a watering down of the faces, the culture, and the history, and the stories of just that are so beloved behind these flavors and dishes and nostalgic memories, right? And so it was really important for me to create something authentic, where the face of the brand was people like me, that we have our stories to tell behind these flavors, and to prioritize those stories and prioritize those cultures and those people.
Nice. And so Elizabeth, you brought with you some of the products that you have available. Would you mind sharing a little bit about what they are?
Yes. I have a product line. It's my base line. I have so many ideas as entrepreneurs, as you guys probably can tell and know and experience. Our minds are going a million miles a minute. And so currently, right now, I have 5 seasoning blends on my base product line. The first one, which is seasonal, is called La Lechona. It's a pork rub. And the story behind it is quite special to me. So whether we were living in Germany on base, or we were in Panama or in Puerto Rico, anywhere we were, one of the biggest traditions around the holidays is my dad making a special rub. And he would cook it low and slow in the oven all night. So around the holidays, if I don't smell the special pork seasoning blend rub, it's not the holidays. I don't really do turkey. I do my pork rub, and I don't even eat a lot of pork, but I need that because it makes me feel like comfort, like home, like it's around the holidays. My dad's home, and he's doing his thing in the kitchen. So that's the inspiration here. A lot of my customers who don't eat pork have come back and given me great feedback, indicating that they love this on chicken. So, but not only just chicken and pork, really this is a special blend for the holidays, for the summer and Christmas, and anything that you throw on the grill, this is what's really, really perfect. Then I have our general seasoned salt blend, adobo, and the special name that I created each of my blends, they have just a special nostalgic name, really relative to the Puerto Rican culture and our language, our indigenous language. And my adobo is called criollo, with a double L, and you pronounce it with a Y. and it's just your seasoned salt. And I love it because you have a special blend that is quite different from the brand that people are familiar with from Goya. None of my products has MSG, and the salt that I use is not iodized salt. It is kosher salt, and it's very little. So it's, it has low amounts of sodium, and I'm really, really proud of that. And the main ingredient is like garlic and onion. The third is called Sazon Brava, and Brava means it can kind of translate to like fierce, and what's fierce about it is the color. So in Central and South America and other parts of the world, but in Latin American countries, we use this seed called annatto seed, and it's red, and it's like this earthy terracotta color. And when you mix it with oil and you kind of boil it in a way, and it emanates this red liquid, and this is how we color our food. And it's just really rich. It's the color that you see when you eat your Mexican rices, your red beans and rice. You could use it in so many items, and that's really, really special. And after this weekend of a lot of events, that was kind of like my number one seller. And then my general number one seller is sofrito. Sofrito Boricua, the name Boricua is the Taino indigenous name for the person who's from Puerto Rico, because originally, way back when, before colonization, Puerto Rico was not Puerto Rico. It was called Borinquen. And so that's the indigenous name for Puerto Rico. And so sofrito is it's the staple and the cornerstone of all Puerto Rican cuisine, and really throughout, the Caribbean. It's really, really special. And normally we have to take cilantro, garlic, onions, and sweet bell peppers, and we create this wet paste. And we just take a tablespoon or 5, because it smells amazing, and we put it in everything, and it just goes in everything. It doesn't matter if you're making Italian food or you're creating a special blend to put on your fish. Like, it's just so versatile. When I explain people, it's an aromatic. It's the Puerto Rican version of mirepoix, or the Holy Trinity. And a lot of people know the Holy Trinity to make soups, and bases will be like your celery, your onions, and your garlic. So this is our Puerto Rican mirepoix, our Holy Trinity, and it's so flavorful. And again, you could put it on everything. You don't have to be cooking exclusively Latin American food. And then finally, along with going back to our adobo, our special seasoned salt, I also created and was mindful for people that cannot consume salt at all. So I created the salt-free version of adobo criollo, and literally, my product is very transparent, and it's the exact same recipe from the original adobo, except it doesn't have salt, and I replace the salt with lemon peel, but it's not citrusy. It just really elevates that flavor palette and allows you not to have to worry about that salt intake. So I'm really, really proud of my babies. These are my babies. And they're really, really special. And I tell people all the time, like, it's not, you don't have to. A lot of people ask me at events, like, oh, so what do I have for chicken? What do I cook for chicken? And I just tell them, actually, whatever you want. If you want to add a little color, do the sazon. You can do a dry rub. It has just a beautiful color. And you can mix it with the adobo. You can mix it with the sofrito, which is the sofrito. I'm really proud. Like, when you buy my product, you can actually see these beautiful, nice composition of color and the ingredients, and it's really versatile. You can use it in absolutely everything and anything. If you're doing more of a vegetarian, or you're somewhat plant-based, there's zero animal product. I literally hand make all of these myself, safely in a commercial kitchen, and they have a seal of security. And yeah, I'm just really, really proud of them. They're really, really flavorful, and I'm now encountering a lot of my customers coming back over and over again, seeing them in different events, and they're like, oh my gosh, it's so good. And I say that humbly, because I've worked really, really hard to have something comforting, that when people make something that's comforting for them, they have this great strong baseline of flavor. And yeah, they start creating memories out of that with those aromas and flavors. And I want to be able to translate that to any palate and any dish and recipe.
Nice. And so, Elizabeth, you mentioned in your introduction that your passion is to help share the stories that people have of enjoying Latino cuisine with family and friends. Would you care to share a story that you have about some of the things you had that helped you develop these spices?
Absolutely. So, as I shared a little bit earlier, my dad served this country for about 20 years. He's a Vietnam veteran. And no matter where we were stationed at, whether it was Germany, Panama, Missouri, Louisiana, North Carolina, one of the biggest things that my dad always taught my sisters and I, and I'm so proud of it, because he said to us, you'll learn English out there. In here, se habla español. We're gonna speak Spanish. And so I was 2 weeks old, and my dad was stationed in North Carolina. And it just didn't matter where we were stationed. Puerto Rico was in the home. The music, the food, the language, the sayings. I think some of my cousins probably think they're a little surprised of how connected I am to the island, but it's like mom and dad didn't really remove that from our lives. And I think that from the millennial experience, maybe even Gen Z experience, and even Gen X, I think that when Latino immigrants, or maybe even immigrants in general, come to the country and they have to assimilate or water down their culture to survive. And I get that, and there's no condemnation in that. I was the opposite. I was the little girl in 6th grade and I'm giggling because I really annoyed my classmates on how much I talked about being Puerto Rican and how cool it was. And it might have come across as arrogant, but I was just so excited and proud of my culture. And, so stories like that always kind of carry with me, because we are a culture that we love to feed people. We may not have money to give you, but we'll open up our home, we'll feed you, we'll give you a place to stay. We'll make sure that your needs are taken care of, and we love hard and passionately. You see a Puerto Rican with the flag, there's a whole history behind that. Our language and our flag was suppressed by the United States, for years. And that wasn't just, that was in, the 20th century. That was, very recent. And so the stories that carry really dear to me is, I love the fact that my dad was unapologetically Puerto Rican, but he was, and my mom as well, and it was with such class. It's just, this is who we are. This is our love. This is our passion. This is how we love. This is, I'll feed you, I'll welcome you in. And it's this just welcome for all. And that that translates through our dance and whatnot. And so, things like waking up Christmas morning or Thanksgiving morning and the house is filled with this pork rub. And it's so special, and it doesn't feel like the holidays unless that aroma is in my home. And going back and forth to Puerto Rico and listening to salsa since, from the womb, and artists like Hector Lavoe, and knowing that my mom and my dad were making pasteles, and pasteles is not cake. For Puerto Ricans, a pastel is almost kind of like a plantain, that green banana, like a plantain based kind of like a tamale. Tamale is made out of corn, but ours is made out of plantains, and we use that banana leaf and we boil it, and it's just, that means Christmas to us. That is part of Christmas. It's having seafood. It's having parrandas, and parrandas are like, the spicy, saucy, fiery version of Christmas carols for Puerto Ricans, and going from house to house, and then when the house wakes up and they welcome you in, and you keep on singing, and the host of the house will have food and drinks, and it's just this community of family, whether you're blood related or not, and just authenticity. And so it starts with the food, because food brings everyone together and it brings community together. It builds community and it comforts. It, clearly feeds you. We need food to survive. And then you start creating these memories associated with comfort and people. And when you add it to music and you add it to experiences, that all comes together. And so I would love my spice line to be the basis of the start of those memories, whether you're cooking arroz con gandules, or, birria tacos, or you're making, a beef bourguignon. It just doesn't matter. Like, you can use my spices to add so much flavor, and then you can be creative and you can add to it. And it doesn't take away, because I give you a solid foundation of flavor.
Nice. And so, Elizabeth, what's on the horizon for you as you continue to grow your business and get your spices out to more customers?
Yes, absolutely. So I think the season is kind of wrapping up for my public events and vendor events, and I've loved being able to communicate and make, create this local community brand awareness happen for my brand. I'm having repeatedly people kind of seeing my face, and that just comforts me. What's on the horizon is to really focus on the digital aspect and creating that a brand awareness there. People that meet me, there's nothing, I don't think, pretentious or superficial about me. It's been a little difficult translating that to social media. One-on-one interactions are great, but then to kind of translate that into social media and having people see who I am and the joy that I have just sharing this, with others is a little bit difficult. So, but my focus is going to be that in in this coming season. And I think being able to get certain permits and licensing in place so that I can pitch to businesses and grocery stores. I would love that. And being able to expand the product line. I have a very special sauce in mind that is very dear to our culture. I won't share that now, but it's very, very special, and we accompany it with a lot of our dishes, and so that's my hope to do that maybe next year. And just kind of fidgeting a little bit with the idea of a special ketchup and a special, infused oils and things like that. So that's all on the horizon, and it's definitely a step-by-step process. I'm a woman who loves to make sure my foundation is solid so that I can build. So that's what's coming up next.
Awesome. And Elizabeth, how can our viewers get a hold of you, purchase your spices for their own kitchen? Share all of that contact information with them, please. Sure,
absolutely. If you want to find my product, you can go directly to www.fireislanderseasonings.com. Yes, it does have an S at the end. It's a long name, but you'll just type in fireislanderseasonings.com. You can purchase directly on the website. I am an e-commerce website business. And you can also follow me on Instagram. I have a handle, which is the same name of the business, Fire Islander Seasonings. And then on Facebook, I am Fire Islander. And on TikTok, it's the same, Fire Islander Seasonings. So I am on 3 social media handles, and I do have a website.
Awesome. Well, Elizabeth, thank you so much for sharing your story with us here today. To everyone watching, if you are looking to turn up the flavor on your Latin food, make sure to check out Elizabeth's website and purchase your spices today. Next, I'd like to share a clip with you recently added to the INSPIREsmall.biz website. Kara Long, the owner of the Memory Collective, shares her journey to securing her trademark.
And you do not get a refund. So that was pretty daunting going in. It was, and it's a lot of work to prepare for these. So you have to have 2 specimens of proof per class, which is basically your way of saying, this is the proof that I'm using this mark in commerce, which just basically means that you have this available, that someone can purchase it. It doesn't mean that you have to be making a ton of sales on it or even have sold one. It just has to be available for someone to purchase it. And in the case of the courses, I did not have a course. I still don't have a course done. It's in progress. So in that case, we filed for an intent to use, which basically just it acknowledges that you don't have it yet, but you will have it by X date, or you can file for an extension. But when you can show proof, then they just backdate it to the original application date, so that if somebody came in during that process and tried to trademark your mark in that class, they wouldn't be able to do that. So it still protects it. So Darren worked on what they call pre-filled language of the application, which I was not privy to or part of the process in my original application. I didn't even know that was a thing. So he worked on that, and that's basically like pre-written language that other people have used. And then you kind of pull from those things and adapt them to your particular application. And so he worked on that. I worked on proofs, because although you only need 2 per class, what ends up being possible is that, so like this was particularly an issue in class 16, which is print. So I wanted to apply for all of these different, so within print, I'm going to pull up. I applied for like an art print on canvas, a blank card, blank journal, book mock-up, booklet, bookmark, brochure, bumper sticker, business card, calendars, like all of these different things. And there are like, I don't know how many of them there are, 35. So there are 35 of these. And the USPTO, the reviewing attorney, could come back, even though we've provided 2 specimens, they could come back and say, hey, we'd like to see a calendar that has your mark on it. And if I don't have that, they could be like, oh, you don't have that? Well, you said you did, so denied. and I didn't want that to happen. So I went through and legitimized everything that we were applying for. And the way that I did that, and I feel like this is kind of like a hacking way to do it, but I just used a company called Zazzle, which is like a print on demand service. And this allows me to have like these products up on a marketplace where anybody can buy them, but I don't necessarily have to like advertise them or anything, but they have my mark on it. So I feel like that's a good way to get around it. You just upload the design. I didn't have to buy my own products and spend a whole bunch of money doing that. I could just design them, upload them, and then send the link to the USPTO and say, this is where you can buy it. This is where it's available for commerce.
Ladies and gentlemen, make sure you join us on Friday, September 1st for the next Sparks Lunch. That's at Giacomo Pizza, 9165 Otis Avenue in Indianapolis. This event is free to attend. You just purchase your own lunch, and you'll get to learn about the speakers that we have coming up for the month of September at our After Hours event. That's 9165 Otis Avenue in Indianapolis. Registration for that event is not required, but appreciated because it helps us understand who's coming so we can adequately plan. Also coming up on Wednesday, September 13th is the next Sparks After Hours. Our theme for September is determination. So join us for a great evening of networking and 3 inspiring stories on determination. Tickets for this event are just $25 if you register in advance, or $35 at the door. To get your ticket, visit www.INSPIREsmall.biz/sparks. And if you're an INSPIREsmall.biz member, if you're a side hustle member, you get 50% off your ticket. If you're a business builder or local connector member, your ticket is included. Tickets at the door are $35 regardless of membership level, so make sure that you get your ticket in advance. And finally, on Friday, September 8th, we have the next business spotlight. That's at Pinheads off of State Road 37 in Fishers. Join us where over 80 local entrepreneurs and professionals share with you what their business does, and everyone who shows up at the event gets 45 seconds on the microphone to tell the whole room about their business at one time. And if you register in advance, you can choose to have your contact information included in the booklet that everyone receives when they arrive. To get registered for that event, visit www.inspiresmall.biz/spotlight. If you liked our episode today, be sure to like and subscribe so that you can get the latest videos from INSPIREsmall.biz featuring inspiring stories of entrepreneurs in Central Indiana and across the country. And if you're in the process of building your own business, consider becoming a member of INSPIREsmall.biz by visiting www.inspiresmall.biz/join. I'm Ryan Henry, idea guy and co-founder of INSPIREsmall.biz. We'll see you next week.